Plenty to talk about when you discuss the Notre Dame offense heading into fall camp, which begins Saturday, August 7th. I'm Mike Singer, joined by Tyler Horka and Patrick Engel of blueandgold.com. Certainly the receiver spot is something to discuss. Notre Dame losing Javon McKinley, its team's leading receiver from last season. Avery Davis, Michael Mayer seem to be some candidates as the leading receiver this fall. What are your expectations and thoughts heading into fall camp, Patrick?
Yeah, the receivers are really looking at a lot of that big senior class to try to carry that group right now. Of course, it starts with Kevin Austin. Is he going to be healthy? What's left after those couple of foot fractures he had last year? He's going to get every chance to be a number one guy. Notre Dame still talks about him in the sense of him being able to be that and be that at an impact level that adds a degree of verticality and explosiveness that maybe the offense didn't necessarily have last year. But it's more than just him. You look at Braden Lindsey, the same situation, trying to get healthy after some hamstring problems last year, will give you another kind of speed, yards after catch weapon on the field side. Lawrence Keys, playing either on the slot or in the field. Those two guys in particular really had a good spring season and spring game with that opportunity they had there with Kevin Austin not being able to practice. And then can't forget Avery Davis, who has the most career catches in career games of any returning wide receiver. 24 grabs a year ago. You saw him able to make some plays after the catch and run after the catch, go downfield a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily dismiss him as a component and weekly part of the offense, even if he's not necessarily the number one guy. And then Joe Wilkins, where does he fit in? One of their better blocking guys, can play on the boundary. He did a little bit a year ago, can play on the field side. A lot of mouths they kind of want to feed there. A lot of guys trying to make an impression as unproven seniors who've had up and down careers or waiting for opportunities, where now this is a chance where they're really being looked at to be able to take on those bigger roles.
That's a great point. I feel like there's so many talented receivers. It's just there's not like a lot of returning production. You didn't even mention guys like Lorenzo Styles. Can he make an impact at a slot receiver? What about Xavier Watts? Is that kind of how you feel like there's just a ton of talent, but like who is going to step up?
Yeah, you don't want to rule those guys out. Styles being an early enrollee who got here in the spring. Watts, a sophomore now, he was an early enrollee in 2020. Not that it meant as much because everybody got sent home. But, yeah, absolutely. Looking at two other guys there. Play slot receiver, field receiver. Styles, you might see him on some punt returns. Certainly, as we talking about freshmen to watch, he's definitely a guy to pay attention to there, whether it's on special teams or if he can carve out a role in the offense.
Yeah, now talking about other positions, running back is one that, Tommy Rees has got to feel really good about when you return your top two backs. What are your expectations for the running back group heading into this fall?
Well, I think it's kind of a three-headed monster. It's just one of those gets fed a little more than the others, a lot more than the others, and that's Kyren Williams, obviously. I'm really interested to see how much Chris Tyree gets on the field with Kyren Williams this year. Tommy Rees has said, we've got two number one running backs. Chris Tyree could be a number one running back almost anywhere else in the country. How much can we get those guys on the field at the same time? And what are their roles when they are on the field at the same time? If Kyren Williams can be a decoy and you get the ball to Chris Tyree, then, you've got a lot of options there. And then you got Sibo Flemister as well, who's, a senior. He could start at a lot of places too, but he's really not getting those touches. How does, Tommy Rees manage that? And, Kyren Williams, Doak Walker candidate, could be a Heisman candidate if he gets the touches. I just don't think he's going to get those touches because you got so many mouths to feed. Three running backs that can start anywhere in the country. That's a lot. It'll be interesting to see during training camp what it looks like with all three of those guys.
Yeah, you still even have Audric Estime, Logan Diggs, the true freshmen coming in, very talented players. And pictures we've seen of Audric Estime, he looks like an absolute dude and is ready to play. Got to talk about the offensive line when you replace four starters. Josh Lugg, Zeke Correll, experienced guys who are we project as potential starters at least. If you had to predict a starting five on the offensive line as we record this right now before the start of fall camp, what's your best guess, Patrick?
Yeah, I think we'll see a freshman out there. Most likely, I feel like, is Blake Fisher starting at left tackle. You saw him really make a lot of progress in the spring and kind of open some eyes of how quickly he was able to come along and be in that position that freshmen just aren't in on Notre Dame's offensive line. And then adding Kane Madden into the mix after spring practice matches the number of career starts that Notre Dame's returning offensive linemen have. I think you'll see him play guard, probably at right guard in that left guard spot, whether that's Jarrett Patterson, whether that's Zeke Correll, you would imagine, or whether that's Rocco Spindler, another freshman. Patterson, you know he's going to start somewhere, whether that's guard, whether that's center, where he's played the last 2 years and started 21 games. I think I'll settle on Zeke Correll and Jarrett Patterson, left guard, center, and then Kane Madden on the right side at right guard, and then Josh Lugg, fifth-year senior tackle, 8 career starts, I believe. Played all 3 positions, but you saw him play pretty well when he replaced Robert Hainsey on the right side in 2019.
So that's talking about some of the fall camp storylines on the offensive side of the ball. Make sure to check blueandgold.com and our YouTube page talking about the defensive side in tomorrow's video.